Hello class, this is Mr. Broussard. I'm sending you this video for the fourth week of our World Literature course for the second 8 weeks of the fall of 2020. I hope you're all doing well. First things first, I have graded your essays, and for the most part, you all did a really good job. I would say average-wise, it was pretty high. I mean, it was varying ranges of grades, actually, but in a good way. In fact, only two of you, everyone who earned a grade other than a zero pass, basically. Two of you, one of you didn't meet the word requirements. Remember, you need to have 1,000 words not to have any penalty, and then you need to get to at least 600 words to earn something other than a zero, because if you didn't put enough content, well, then you earned your zero. The other, and both of these come down to you have to watch the videos and you have to pay attention when watching the videos, because the second person had source material. As I've already told you, there is to be zero source material on any of the work of this class other than the research essay. The research essay at the end is where you will have the research material that will then back up what you have, but that will not be until the end of the semester. None of the reader responses, I'll reiterate, none of the reader responses nor any of the first 3 essays is to have source material. Now, granted, all but one of you did it properly, so you're fine. So there was, again, this is the key of watch the videos, pay attention, because all but 2 of you did that, and all but 2 of you passed. There were some D's, yes, but that was the lowest that there were, other than the 2 zeros. Most of what y'all had was actually B's. So there were a lot of B's, solid B's, and some very good A's as well. So the range was kind of between 97 and the mid 60s, or low to mid 60s, other than the 2 zeros. And again, that was just basically not paying attention on either of those students' parts. Y'all did really well. So that gives me confidence that y'all will do well and continue to do well. And most of you have done well in the reader responses. You did really well on the essays. Continue the good work that you have. Those 2 of you, you've got to pay attention. You've got to pay attention, because all the other students in the course did what they were supposed to, and they all passed. That's, I'm not saying that that's automatic, but it's, they did what they need to. When you do what's asked of you, and you do, even when you don't do as well as you would hope, you still at least get a passing grade. It's not, again, it's not assured, but they followed directions they were supposed to, and they did well. So again, all but 2 of you did pretty good. Again, those of you with D's, I of course would like them higher. Those of you with C's, I'd like them higher. A solid amount of B's, but with a little bit of work, you could pull that up to an A, and many of you had A's, and you should feel really good about that as well, especially considering it was the first essay on a sophomore level. So again, continue with the good work, continue with the hard work, continue with following directions, and the 2 of you who didn't, now you know this is for real. It is more for real than normal. I'm telling you, this is a sophomore level course. These are things that shouldn't be happening. And there were some things that I noted to some of you who didn't fail, but who earned lower grades. In the future, if you do certain things, you will earn zeros. So a couple of you wrote in the second person in parts, and in some cases in whole. You should have learned in Comp 1, and that should have been more than learned in Comp 1. There's certain things called the fatal errors. The 4 fatal errors in particular. There, some have varying degrees. Some say there's more than 4. Something. I believe in the 4 fatal errors. One of which is writing in the second person. The word you, your, yours, or any form of you should never appear on any composition. In particular, a research essay, when we do get to that at the end of the semester, or even a regular composition essay like you had just completed and did really well on. But some of you, I noted that it's like, if you do this again, it's a 0, because fatal errors should not be happening in a sophomore class. You should not have you, your, yours, or any form of you. There are some exceptions that always involve being in quote marks for a reason. If it's lines of dialogue, let's say you quote lines of dialogue from one of the, you're dealing with Beowulf this week. And by the way, make sure you read Beowulf this week, pages 885 to 885 to page 960. And so let's say you're dealing with Beowulf, and within the story itself, some character in Beowulf says the word you. Perfectly fine, no problem there. If this had been more of a creative writing course, or Comp 1 where you were doing a narrative of your own, and a character you came up with said the word you, the character, that would be fine. Let's say we get to the research essay at the end of the semester, and again, a reminder, I shouldn't have to carefully say this, but I will. No source material at all in anything within this course except for the research essay at the end of the semester. But let's say you get there, and the source you have, the quote you use from it has the word you. That's perfectly fine. But if it's a regular composition essay, rhetorical mode essay, dealing with literature, with those exceptions aside, you do not write in the second person. Why? Because it is physically impossible. It is impossible by the very nature of laws of science and physics for an individual writing an essay to be in the second person. Either I'm writing the essay, I as in the first person, or if I'm outside of myself, he is writing that essay. So that becomes third person pronoun. So stop using the word you unless, like I said, it's in quote marks for a reason. And again, it has to be direct lines of dialogue, maybe from a Beowulf or Canterbury Tales or whatever you're dealing with. When you get to the end of the semester and you have source material in only the one essay, you are allowed to use that. You got it there, that's fine as well. Or if you go to a creative class and you use it there, that's fine as well. But in a regular composition essay, for whichever reason you are doing so, do not write in the second person. You shouldn't be flipping between first and third person. That would be bad enough. But flipping into second person, because even all these, I will say this, none of you maintain second person throughout, but you flipped into it or started with it and flipped into something else. That would be bad enough as a normal problem, that the flipping between first and third. But second person is not allowed. You're not supposed to do it. It is a fatal error. And the sophomore level course, fatal is supposed to mean 0. To be honest, if this was any other semester, you would have gotten 0. But I'm trying to be nicer when it comes to understanding the issues that we are having, considering COVID and all these other things. Of the things that should be understood and things that are more blatantly, like those 2 students who got zeros, you earned yours. And by the way, just so you know, I don't give grades. You earn grades. If you don't get a 0, you earn a 0. You don't get 100, you earn 100, and any and all grades in between, you earn it. Never say to your instructor or professor, you gave me this grade. I don't give you anything. You earn that grade. Please understand that and never say those words to me again. Or any professor or instructor at any time, because that's one of those things that will make your instructor or professor very unhappy. You need to understand your role and whatever it is that you did. If you did that role well and earned that 100 or a 90 something or an 80 something, you deserve the credit for what you earned. If you earned a 60 something, you deserve that credit for, okay, you passed, but it wasn't that good. You barely passed and you earned a D grade. You earned it. You didn't fail, but you didn't do well either. And yes, if you earn an F, in particular 0F, you earned that. I don't give that to you. So slight little rant there, just to make sure it is well understood. You earned that. But back to what it is that we are covering as far as the fatal errors. One of them is, and again, I should be teaching you this. You should learn this in Comp 1. If you had me in Comp 1, you learned it. Don't write in the second person. I've already gone over that. Some other things. I didn't really see the comma splices or run-on sentence issues with many of you. So I think you got that down. So, of course, if you have an independent and dependent clause, you need to have a comma there. But if you have 2 independent clauses, it's a semicolon. It can be a comma, but you have to add that according conjunction, the fanboys, as hopefully you learned, because that then makes the second independent clause turns into a dependent clause, and then it works because it's the normal sentence because you're merging independent dependent clause with a comma, and that's fine. Or you put it in punctuation at the end of the first independent clause, capitalize the first word of the second independent clause, and then you make them 2 completely different sentences. That's how you correct a comma splice, and that's how you correct a run-on sentence. The run-on sentence is basically the same thing, only instead of a comma being there, you have nothing there. That would be a run-on sentence. So I don't think I saw that issue. The only 2 issues, I saw the second person thing more times than I care to remember. And again, you do it anymore in this course, it's a 0. I'm going to place up 0 on there. I should have done that already. And again, had this been any other semester, I would have done that. So be thankful. Horrible as everything is with what's going on, it saved your rear end. Some of you. In fact, to be brutally honest, I think every single one of you got a D. did that and lost the points accordingly. So yeah, comma splice, run-on sentence, those are two other fatal errors you should be doing, but I don't think any of you did it, so good there. And then one of you did have that sentence that wasn't a complete sentence, and definitely shouldn't be seeing that on a sophomore level. Again, you must have a subject, the predicate verb, and then the part that gets left off, the completed thought. Subject, predicate verb, completed thought must all be a part of the sentence. These are things I shouldn't be seeing on the sophomore level. I shouldn't really be seeing on the freshman level. So make sure you correct those, because basically on this first essay, I went by my comp one rule, which is you lose all points available to you on that part of the rubric. Not all of it. Basically, you lose a level every single time. The problem is if you do it 5 times, you've lost it all. But yeah, from now on it will be a 0. So I noted it in your comments. Please take it to heart. When you're in the editing, revision, and proofreading part, make sure you check for those things. You should be doing it now, and please make sure you correct it so that I don't come back with a second essay. It has this, and I straighten it again. 0, click, move on to the next one. Because we violate these certain things, which we've already had 2 students. I can give that leeway on some of these things for the one time. I can't give a leeway. If you don't meet a minimum requirement of 600 words, I can't help you there. If I specifically tell you, and I had to look through my videos again just to make sure I did, make sure I'm not, maybe I zoned out, maybe I forgot. No, I said specifically on 2 separate occasions, once in the first video and once in the second video, that there was to be no social material. Specifically said in number 2 and number 1, I said you have a research essay at the end, and therefore you save your research for that. That means you don't use research for the beginning parts. So yeah, that is the only thing I'd help you out. Your 0 stand, by the way, just so both of you've lost that. It's gone. Just forget about it. Move on. Make sure you don't do anything like this ever again. For those of you who committed one of the 4 fatals, this is your get out of jail free card. Make sure you don't violate it again, or else the 0 will go on yours as well. So again, we're sophomores. You're a sophomore. You shouldn't be having these issues. So, but then again, overall, we all did a great job. So the overall averages, particularly if you take out those 2 zeros, was really, really good. But I want you to be forewarned, if you do fall into one of those categories, that it will carry stricter penalties in the future, unless you're one of the 2 got zeros, and you can't get much more stricter than that, I guess. Because it should be happening in a sophomore level course, and trust me, you go to university, they wouldn't have been this nice. And you get to junior, senior level at the university, they definitely won't be this nice. So please have an understanding when it comes to that. I already noted before, the reading for this week is Beowulf, pages 885 to 960. You will have a reader response. It will be due Monday, November the 16th at 2:59 a.m. So Sunday night before you go to bed, and make sure you get the reader response done there. And y'all done a great job on the reader responses. So keep up the good work on that, and you should be fine as far as this. I hope to get you your reader responses either sometime this afternoon or tomorrow. Hopefully I'm able to get to those sooner rather than later. Another reminder, it says on your syllabus, the Middle Ages final draft due November 17th at 2:59 a.m. A reminder that I decided to give y'all at least an extra week on all these essays. And actually, because of the situation of this running into my physical break, because I'm physically on campus the rest of this week, physical campus next week, and then the following week I will not be on physical campus. Nobody will, because we get the complete week off for our Thanksgiving break. So what I've decided to do, and of course I gave you extra time on the ancient world essay, I'm giving you extra time on the Middle Ages. Actually, you're going to get 2 weeks on the Middle Ages one, because I'm not going to have anything due on a Sunday or Monday going into a holiday for me, because I'm not grading. So I might as well give you all the extra time to get it done. So the Middle Ages essay, and again, most of you did really well on the ancient world essay. Continue what you're doing for the Middle Ages essay when it comes to what you'll be doing as far as content. As far as those, some of you need to make sure you have a better balance between your analysis and your summary, and make sure it's well integrated. Don't just have it where, like, okay, here's analysis, and here's summary, or here's summary, here's analysis. And it seems like it's 2 completely separate entities. You get what's called ping pong effects, like analysis, summary, or summary, analysis, summary, analysis. You don't want to do that. You don't want to make your reader have to go to that because they get busy, or up and down, in the case may be. So make sure it's more well integrated. But again, overall, y'all did really, really well. The Middle Ages essay is now due Monday, November the 30th at 2:59 a.m. So that means a Sunday after Thanksgiving, Sunday on the 29th. Make sure that your essay is completed, and that will deal with, let me make sure I get to the correct of these, hold on. Yes, that will deal with either the Canterbury Tales that you've already read, the Blades and Marie de France, which you've already read, Sir Gawain with the Green Knight, which you've already read, or Beowulf, which you will read this week. So you can use one or multiples of these works if you would like. When it comes to the Canterbury Tales or the Lays, it has to be the ones I gave you. It can't be any of the other ones. So the tales that I gave you, the Lays that I gave you, and again, a reminder, Lays would actually be italicized if you reference it, but Lostic and Lample would have quote marks around it. When you deal with the individual tales within the Canterbury Tales, you have quote marks around those titles, but if you're saying the Canterbury Tales, it's italicized. I only had a few issues with those with y'all in the essay. So most part, y'all got that and got that right. But yes, those are the works that we'll deal with within that Middle Ages analysis final draft. And but then that will not be due until, let's just say, Sunday night, the 29th. So you get 2 weeks with that one. And then we will move into, technically, actually next week, we will move into the works of the Renaissance and the literature and or movies that we will be dealing once we get there. But we'll get that to that next week once it's in next week's video. So that is it as far as what we will be dealing with this week. I hope you're all doing well, that you all have completely recovered from the hurricane, your power, your internet, your sanity, whatever it is you have that's coming, that needed to come back, that it has come back. And like I said, I will send another video next week. So I hope you all have a good day.